muscular organ. Its job is to pump blood to every part of the body. It beats around 100,000 times every day, pumping about 5 liters of blood every minute continuously, from before birth until death. The heart is located in the center of the chest, in a space between the two lungs called the mediastinum. Its lower tip points slightly toward the left side. In adults, the heart weighs between 250 and 350 grams, roughly the size of a closed fist. The heart is surrounded by a protective covering called the pericardium. This covering has 2 layers. The outer layer holds the heart in place and prevents it from overstretching. The inner layer is made up of 2 parts. One lines the outer layer from the inside, and the other wraps directly around the heart. Between these 2 inner parts is a small space filled with fluid. This fluid reduces the friction caused by the heart's constant movement. The wall of the heart is made of 3 layers. The outermost layer is called the epicardium. The middle layer is called the myocardium. This is the thick muscle layer that does the actual pumping. The innermost layer is called the endocardium. It lines the inside of the heart's chambers and valves, keeping the inner surface smooth so blood can flow without resistance. The heart has 4 chambers, 2 on top and 2 on the bottom. The 2 upper chambers are called the atria, and the 2 lower chambers are called the ventricles. The right and left sides of the heart are separated by a wall called the septum. This wall keeps oxygen-rich blood and oxygen-poor blood completely separate. The right atrium receives blood that has already delivered its oxygen to the body. This blood returns through 2 large veins. The superior vena cava brings blood from the upper body, and the inferior vena cava brings blood from the lower body. A vessel called the coronary sinus also drains blood from the heart muscle itself into the right atrium. The left atrium receives fresh, oxygen-rich blood coming back from the lungs through 4 pulmonary veins. Both atria have thin walls because their only job is to collect blood and pass it downward. They do not need much muscular force. The ventricles have much thicker walls because they pump blood out of the heart under pressure. The right ventricle sends blood to the lungs. The left ventricle sends blood to the entire body. Because the left ventricle pumps against much greater resistance, its wall is 2 to 3 times thicker than the right ventricle's wall. Blood flow through the heart is controlled by 4 valves. These valves open and close based on changes in blood pressure, and they ensure blood always moves in one direction. The valves between the atria and ventricles are called atrioventricular valves. The tricuspid valve sits between the right atrium and right ventricle and has 3 flaps. The mitral valve sits between the left atrium and left ventricle and has 2 flaps. Both of these valves are connected by thin cord, like structures to small muscles inside the ventricles. These muscles prevent the valve flaps from flipping backward when the ventricles contract. The 2 valves where blood exits the heart are called semilunar valves. The pulmonary valve sits at the opening of the pulmonary artery, and the aortic valve sits at the opening of the aorta. Each has 3 cup-shaped flaps. They open when the ventricles contract and snap shut when the ventricles relax, stopping any blood from flowing back in. The heart runs 2 separate blood circulation loops at the same time: pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation starts in the right ventricle. Oxygen-poor blood is pumped through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary trunk, which splits into the right and left pulmonary arteries. These arteries carry blood to the lungs. In the lungs, carbon dioxide leaves the blood and is breathed out. Oxygen from the air enters the blood and binds to red blood cells. This oxygen-rich blood then travels back to the heart through 4 pulmonary veins and enters the left atrium. One important point: the pulmonary arteries are the only arteries in the body that carry oxygen-poor blood, and the pulmonary veins are the only veins that carry oxygen-rich blood. This is the opposite of the usual pattern, and it is commonly misunderstood. Systemic circulation starts in the left ventricle. Oxygen-rich blood is pumped through the aortic valve into the aorta, the largest artery in the body. From the aorta, blood travels through a branching network of arteries and smaller vessels to reach every organ and tissue in the body. Oxygen and nutrients are delivered to cells, and carbon dioxide and waste products are picked up. This oxygen-poor blood then collects into veins and returns to the right atrium through the superior and inferior venae cavae. The heart also supplies blood to its own muscle through a system called coronary circulation. The right and left coronary arteries branch off the aorta just above the aortic valve and run along the surface of the heart, delivering oxygen to the myocardium. Blood drains back from the heart muscle, mainly through the coronary sinus, into the right atrium. If a coronary artery becomes blocked, the heart muscle is deprived of oxygen. This condition is called myocardial ischemia. If the blockage is not treated in time, it results in permanent muscle damage, which is known as a heart attack. Every heartbeat is the result of an organized sequence of electrical and mechanical events. This sequence is called the cardiac cycle. The cardiac cycle has two phases. The first is systole, when the ventricles contract and push blood out into the arteries. The second is diastole, when the ventricles relax and fill with blood from the atria. In a healthy adult at rest, one complete cycle takes about 0.8 seconds, which equals a heart rate of roughly 75 beats per minute. The heartbeat is triggered by the heart's own electrical system. The starting point is the sinoatrial node, also called the SA node. It is a small group of specialized cells located in the upper wall of the right atrium. The SA node generates electrical signals on its own at a rate of 60 to 100 times per minute. It is the heart's natural pacemaker. Each signal from the SA node spreads across both atria, causing them to contract at the same time. This pushes blood down through the open valves into the ventricles. The signal then reaches the atrioventricular node, the AV node, located between the atria and the ventricles. The AV node deliberately slows the signal down by about 0.1 seconds. This short delay is important. It gives the atria time to finish contracting and allows the ventricles to fill completely before they contract. After the delay, the signal travels down a pathway called the bundle of His, which runs through the wall between the two ventricles. It then splits into the right and left bundle branches. From there, the signal spreads through a network of fibers called the Purkinje fibers, which distribute it quickly and evenly across the ventricular muscle. This causes the ventricles to contract from the bottom upward, squeezing blood efficiently toward the outflow valves. The two sounds of a normal heartbeat are caused by the closing of valves. The first sound occurs when the mitral and tricuspid valves close at the start of systole. The second sound occurs when the aortic and pulmonary valves close at the end of systole. Abnormal sounds, called murmurs, indicate turbulent blood flow and may point to a problem with a valve or the heart's structure. Blood pressure is measured across the two phases of the cardiac cycle. The higher number systolic pressure is the pressure in the arteries when the ventricles contract. The lower number diastolic pressure is the pressure when the ventricles are relaxed. A normal blood pressure in a healthy adult is around 120 over 80 millimeters of mercury. The human heart is a four-chambered muscular organ that keeps the body alive by running two circulation loops, pulmonary and systemic, at the same time. Its structure, from its protective covering to its valves and muscle layers, is precisely built for its function. The heart's own electrical system ensures every beat is coordinated and on time. A solid understanding of the heart's anatomy and function is the foundation for studying cardiovascular disease, pharmacology, and clinical medicine.